The phone rang at 2:03 a.m., slicing through the silence like a blade through skin, and before I could fully wake, a trembling voice reached my ear and asked for something that would quietly change the direction of my life. It was the kind of hour when the world feels unfinished, when mistakes feel heavier, and when the wrong call can sometimes be the most right thing that ever happens. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for just a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in the quiet power of showing up for someone when the world has gone dark, please like this video, share it with someone who might need it, leave a comment, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your small action helps stories like this reach hearts that are waiting for them. I had been living a life built on routine and emotional distance. Work, sleep, repeat. Friends had faded into occasional notifications, family calls felt rushed, and my heart had learned to stay quiet to avoid disappointment. That night, I had fallen asleep fully clothed on the couch, exhausted from another long shift and another day of pretending everything was fine. When the phone rang, my first instinct was annoyance, then confusion, and finally a strange alertness that told me this moment mattered. The voice on the other end was not drunk, not playful, not careless. It was unsteady, fragile, and carrying the weight of someone who had reached the edge of themselves. She thought she was calling someone else. She had dialed the wrong number. But she said she needed someone to come over and just be with her, because the night felt unbearable and the walls were closing in. I should have corrected her. I should have hung up. Instead, something in me stayed silent, listening, feeling the ache behind her words even without knowing her face. I learned her name slowly, through pauses and breaths. She lived not far from me, in a small apartment that felt too quiet for her own thoughts. She had recently lost her mother, her job, and the sense that she mattered to anyone at all. That night wasn't about danger in the obvious sense. It was about loneliness so heavy it felt physical. I stood in my dark living room, phone pressed to my ear, wrestling with fear, responsibility, and the strange pull of compassion that refused to let me go back to sleep. Every warning sign flashed in my mind. Stranger. Middle of the night. Wrong call. But there was another voice too, quieter but stronger, reminding me of all the nights I had wished someone would notice my silence. I told myself I would regret it if I did nothing. So I put on my jacket, grabbed my keys, and drove through empty streets lit by tired streetlights, feeling like I was stepping into a story that had already begun without my consent. Her apartment building was old, the kind that smelled like dust and forgotten memories. When I knocked, she hesitated before opening the door, fear and relief mixed in her eyes. We didn't hug. We didn't say much. We just existed in the same space, two strangers connected by a wrong number and a shared understanding of pain. The room was dim, cluttered with unopened mail, cold tea cups, and the quiet evidence of someone barely holding it together. We sat across from each other, not talking, just breathing. Time slowed. The night softened. I realized how starved people are for presence, not advice, not solutions, just someone who doesn't leave. As the hours passed, she began to talk, not in dramatic bursts, but in gentle streams of truth. About how grief had hollowed her out. About how she felt invisible. About how she kept hoping someone would notice she was struggling before she disappeared completely. That I didn't try to fix her. I didn't pretend to understand everything. I just stayed. And in staying, something unexpected happened inside me too. The walls I had built around my own heart started to crack. Her pain mirrored my own in ways I had never admitted. I saw how isolation had shaped both of us, how pride and fear had kept us silent, and how easy it is to forget that humans are not meant to survive alone. Morning arrived quietly, light spilling through thin curtains. The crisis had passed, not because it vanished, but because it had been shared. She looked lighter, not healed, but steadier. I left with a simple promise to check in, to not let that night be a one-time accident of fate. And as I walked back to my car, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: purpose. In the weeks that followed, we became careful friends. No romance, no dramatic transformation, just consistency. Coffee conversations, grocery trips, shared silence. She found the strength to seek help, to grieve properly, to rebuild slowly. I found myself opening up too, reconnecting with people I had pushed away, understanding that strength doesn't mean carrying everything alone. That wrong call didn't save her life in a cinematic way. It didn't magically erase pain. But it interrupted a moment where loneliness could have won. And in doing so, it saved something in me as well. It reminded me that kindness doesn't need planning, that presence can be more powerful than words, and that sometimes the universe uses mistakes to deliver exactly what we need. Years later, I still think about that night. About how close we both were to staying silent. About how many people are sitting in dark rooms right now, hoping their phone will ring, hoping someone will show up. We will never know how many lives are changed by small acts we almost didn't do. If this story reached something deep inside you, if it reminded you of a night you survived or a moment you wish someone had stayed, please take a second to like this video, share it, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement tells these stories they matter, and so do the people living them. Before this video ends, I have one special request. Please comment one line below: I will show up. Because you never know when a wrong call at 2 a.m. might be someone's last hope, and your kindness might be the answer.